Hi, I just wanted to pause, take an intermission while in between where we were reading the last page of issue 3 of Rain God Returns. And I'm going to move on to the last issue, issue 4. And we were just about to look at, in the last video, the last page and the back cover. And I thought that was a good spot to stop. And if this is the first time you're encountering a video on my channel, look somewhere on your screen and you'll find a playlist where I'm reading page by page in 10-minute sections this comic book that I wrote. And right now I wanted to discuss some of the themes and origins within me and within literature, I guess, of this book. So if you want to watch this before you look at the rest of it, that's fine. And if you want to stop and go back to the very beginning and listen to me reading through, that's fine too. Anyway, one of the reasons why I chose this format instead of doing a graphic novel, which is what people suggested that I write. I mean, I went to bookstores, like physical bookstores, and said, I have this comic book, and they said, well, is it a graphic novel? I said no, and they, well, we don't want to sell it. We'd rather do graphic novels than comic books. But I really love this format because telling a story in the form of pictures is great, but also having this little album, which has so much more information on it, the front cover, the back cover, covered in advertisements and little games. They weren't really games; they were all advertisements. But as a kid, I believed that this was all part of the whole experience, and I wanted to create that for you. So I'm going to turn the camera down to this desktop and show you some of the inspirations and some of the models I used to create the back pages. And I'll do that right now. So here we have what's supposed to be sort of like an advertisement page, and the top is directly derived from these goofy little games or pranks or gag gifts that you could purchase from magazines and comic books, where I actually copied the pictures, but then I rephrased them because this is all about history. Well, it's not all about history, but there's a lot in here referencing history. So this section is called "Don't It Just Get Your Goat When People Tell You Things That Just Ain't True? Historical Facts versus Personal Motivations." So this one would be, I want to represent you in the best possible light. And this one is, I didn't mean for all this to get out. And this one is, if you work hard with pure intentions, you can accomplish anything. This is the candle that you can't blow out, and I have actually purchased these, and you can't actually blow them out. They're like little sparklers inside of a wax candle, and the more you blow on it, the more it just bursts into flame. And these are the X-ray specs. It says, I treat everyone the same. Is that true? Is that really true? An image of the clack clack there's a little motor in this plastic jaw that you wind up, and it's on a spring that goes clack, 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 clack. So your secret is safe with me, like a yapping mouth. And here's the snake in the can trick. It says, if I knew you'd take it so seriously, I never would have said it, which is a good representation of that. And this one, obviously a firecracker. The end justifies the means. And here's a little fart bag. We never do those kinds of things. There's a little kid going, the smoking dog, I can't remember where that came from, but there's, I'll have to find that. That's a real thing. And the phrase is, they did things differently in the past. And then here's the fake barf. It's like a plastic representation, or a rubber. It's like a rubbery thing that looks like throw up. And it says, I did it as a joke. And this is the fake poo. I don't remember doing that. Did I do that? And there's the hand buzzer gag. And he says, ha ha, I thought you knew. So read into that what you like. Down at the bottom of the page, there is how scientists learned about the past. So this is true facts. The Maya sacred calendar is called, I don't know how to pronounce that, Tzolk'in. And it's made from a succession of 20-day glyphs, pictured in the box to the right, in combination with the letters 1 to 13. This produces a calendar of 260 unique days, which matches 9 cycles of the moon, and is related to the movements of the zenith sun. So each day in this cycle has had an association with an individual's fortune, so it's known as the divinatory year. The Maya used both the Tzolk'in and Hab, which is the civil calendar, to govern their lives. They estimated that a 365-day year precessed through all the seasons twice in 1,101,600 days. When you divide this, it equals 365.242036 days. So that's a little bit more than one day. A little bit more than 1 year. The Gregorian calendar is calculated at 365.2425 days. So the Maya actually figured out a more accurate measurement. And here I am describing these phrases. So these are actual glyphs that I copied out of a book, and they were all labeled this way. Some other smart people discovered what they meant and how what they were actually called. The important thing to get from this is that the Maya calendar is not just one big calendar that looks like this, something like this. This is based on the sunstone, which is a graphic representation of time, but it's not Mayan. It's Aztec, and it's not really a calendar. We won't go into that right now. The Mayan calendar is different, and it's two things, and they interact with each other. And it's very complex because these days can be represented in different ways depending on the context in which they're referred. So it's very complex. And that's all that means. Now on the back, let's see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Or I'll zoom in. The advertisement on the back is based on a series of ads called, what were they called? Like the Mac, Charles Atlas kind of thing. Basically, it was a self-help guru trying to teach people how to take charge of their lives and get healthy. So I have adapted that to this, which is every one of these ads had a comic, and then, of course, a little thing you can clip out to get more information and a little blurb about what this is. So this comic is called The Conflict That Made Two People Respect Each Other. And actually, I have the actual a copy of that, the real one here. And the real one is called The Insult That Made a Man Out of Mac. And you can see there, I basically, I swiped it. Let me see if I can, I think I have. There. So I took this and basically just copied it. See? And then instead of talking about how this guy kicked sand in my face and now I'm going to get big and strong and kick his butt and then he becomes the hero of the, because he beats the other guy up. That's a bad story. We don't want to tell people to do that, do we? No, we don't. So I took the images and I rephrased them to talk about how to respect each other. So let me get a little closer here. This woman says, "Hey, that guy." God damn it, I can't even see. Hey, there goes your partner. Isn't your project due soon? Yeah, yes, but it's stalled. Hey, Derek, this guy's name is Derek. Do you, so this woman is saying, hey, there goes your partner. Isn't your project due soon? And this guy says, yes, but it's stalled. Hey, Derek, have you decided to give in on that one issue? And Derek says, the only way this will work is if you compromise a little bit. See the strong arm technique. And this guy says, I think we'll call him Mac because his name was originally Mac. I really want to finish this project with him, but when we compromise, it feels like we both lose. And the girl says, you just need to get out of your head and work from your heart. See, she's touching her head there, just like she did in here. But in here, she's not saying that. So here's a demonstration of the habits of compromise. Give, take, destruction. And this is the nature of synthesis, creation, and balance. And there he is. He's healthy. I understand now. Cooperation is like a dance, and there they are dancing. It's like a little tango, isn't it? And his girlfriend says, "Are you okay? You seem different." And Max says, "We do become different people with every successful interaction." And the people in the background saying, "Life really is in flux." And the other guy says, "Personality is fluid." But in the real one, she says, "Gosh, what a build!" And the guy says, "He's already famous for it. He's the hero of the beach." So here's some recommendations. Develop the gifts of practice. As we communicate and connect with each other and ourselves, information becomes easier to process and analyze. And then here's the tower of power: endurance, flexibility, balance, power, and stability. See, he's resting his feet on it. And the other recommendation is to read books, especially Rain God Returns. And over here, here's ways to gather information, like watch little movies on the internet. And here's the prize, stating that we are all winners. This here is a drawing that I worked up for a different project altogether when I was learning how to do Tai Chi Actually, this is Qigong. So this is a sequence of movements that you do, that I do every day. And I drew this as sort of I took a class and I remembered the movements and I drew them out so that I could remember them myself, and maybe somebody else would like them. But so I took this from that. Apropos, I just wanted to let you know that. So here is the informational synthesis worksheet that I've worked up. There's a checklist for written communication and a checklist for interpersonal relationships. And then some questions you can answer for yourself. For example, what does it feel like to retain my self-respect? And down at the bottom, and in this one it says the address, but in this one it says everyone's answer will be different. Please allow 6 to 8 weeks for delivery of answers. Be kind to yourself and others. So this, you are the ruler of the empire of the mind, is my version of let me prove I can make you a new man. I won't read this to you all, but it starts out, of course, this little comic is only a kind of metaphor for what goes on inside the heart of a person when they begin to use mature problem-solving techniques. Nothing happens overnight, and we always make huge mistakes that feel insurmountable. The true seeker will accept that there is never only one way to learn conflict management. It rarely conforms to others' advice, and in the end, it is so individual as to be unteachable. So, why did I talk about this? Oh, I was talking about the horse stance. So that's basically what I've done in all of these issues. In let's see, in this one I have a version of some. I actually kind of copied this almost exactly. These are posters, and these are little images that you can get from my website. But this comic that's on the back of the real comic dominated my imagination. Like this was my introduction to self-help gurus. I mean, he was the world's most perfectly developed man, and I wanted to be like that. And this is the model. I mean, this is like the model of every comic book, really. And I have to say, I didn't live up to Charles Atlas's expectations. Kind of weak and flabby, but hopefully creating this comic was a way of ameliorating that. Now that leads me to another topic that I want to wedge in here regarding shamans and control and spiritualism, because it was prompted by something that happened in the last episode. If you saw it, you would have seen that I came to the last page of the issue and realized that I had cut off the bottom part of the page, and it escaped my notice the whole way through the editing process. And I don't remember. I mean, I guess I could go back on the computer and look and see what I had printed, because it's on the computer correctly, but I have already purchased a lot of these comic books. So what I'm going to do is go back through each one of these comic books and use this little white pen and correct it. So it's just personalized art for you, my audience. But it was interesting editing that, because I watched myself just sort of say, oh, I made a mistake, and then grab a pen and then correct it. As if, I mean, when I was a kid and I'd pick up one of these, I thought it was, I mean, this is set in stone. It's orthodox truth, and nothing, there were no mistakes. There could be no mistakes in these. I didn't catch any. I'm sure there were, but it just kind of broke. It showed me the artist's view of their work is much different than the consumer's view of the art. For me, these things are still, like, until they leave my fingertips, there's still something that I can correct. And I have a feeling that, there was a shift that I made somewhere along the line in my life where I stopped looking at art as something that was set in stone forever, and it was something that could continually be changed. And I have a feeling that this is sort of the difference between what happens with New Age gurus or frauds. I would say, the frauds that are in modern society today. I'm sure there were frauds throughout history who present information that they can just sort of adjust to fit whatever they think the audience needs, compared to people who practice a perennialist kind of approach to spirituality, which appears to be the same thing, but is actually much more founded in a spiritual reality. And it's what I imagine shamans were like. What a shaman would have been like without any guidance except from the person who trained him or her. I'm projecting a certain sense of genuine spiritual awareness on these past people. And also in this book, you will see the same sort of casual approach to conducting life, and initiating people into spiritualism that I have towards creating the work. The character here that is portraying a shaman is it's very casual, and if he hadn't performed these giant miracles that are in this comic, people would assume that he's a fraud. And that's the way I guess we all are. But when you're the author of a book and you're the only person who can tell the story, you feel like you're a little god in a way. And there's bad parts of that too, as exemplified by the fact that I don't have an editor, and people who drew pictures for these comic books had editors, and the editors would have caught something like that somewhere down the line, and I don't. So my biggest fear, like these I can change. Because they're all in my possession. They're in boxes in my closet, and I can go in and change them if I want to. These are on bookshelves. They're out there, and if I've made typos, if I've forgotten a chapter, that I kind of wake up with sweaty legs some nights, worried about like the fact that I've just sold a book to somebody and there might be some weird error in it that makes the book bad. But I want to return to this discussion about Charles Atlas, because that seems to be just sort of a linchpin for all sorts of anxieties and opportunities to grow for me. So I was getting to the point of saying that big strong men were my models as a child, and comic books were full of big strong men, and that was sort of the impetus for creating this story, because I've been reading Conan the Barbarian books again out of curiosity, and I thought it would be funny to make a comic book where there's people who aren't giant muscular people. They're kind of tubby, or they're kind of stringy and weedy, but they're still heroes. That was kind of the idea I had for starting it. And look, I brought out some of my Conan books, and they are really out of. This is just amazing. It's amazing artwork. I mean, this is what drew me in addition to all the kissing and the muscles and the adventure, right? And the magic. That's, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to admire in this. The artwork is great. One of the reasons I have this is because this is my image of Conan. It's the one that stuck with me. There have been lots of different artists who tried to represent him, and this one's great. And let's see if I can pull this one out. These are magazines, and these are one. They don't have any ads in them in the middle at all, and I loved that. They just have an ad. Probably, yeah. This is just it's all art. There's no ads, which is what I loved. This is the Savage Sword of Conan, and this is the Conan the Barbarian comics, which were in color. I think that's what the draw is here. They're more difficult to parse out because the faces aren't as clear, and there's lots of ads. Look at that, ads everywhere. But these are the kind of things that influenced me. They created my self-image and hampered it too, really, in some ways. And look, here's an ad. One of those ads I was talking about. There's the vibrating handshake, and what did I see? I saw X-ray specs over here, and I have some other copies of. So these are posters that you could buy, and karate stuff, and there's the hand buzzer, and there's hypnotism, and fake pistol, and sneezing powder. Here's a bunch of ads for, what is this? 49 DIF Bonanza, 25 cents. 6 triangles, 2 diamonds, scout, animals, birds, insects, flowers, sets plus, I don't know what that's, approvals, mounted in book, returnable without obligation. I do not know what that is. I've actually never looked at that. What is that? I'm gonna cut this out and go find out what that is. But there's a switchblade comb, and let's see. Oh, I think this is the one that I copied that one out of here. So that's why I decided to write a comic book. And after I outlined the comic book, there was just too much. I realized that I'd have to research a bunch of stuff before I went any further. And as I researched, I found so much information about the Maya and their contributions to world mathematics and all sorts of astronomy, and I thought that it was too much information. I wanted to include it in a book, and I couldn't, so I adapted that to that outline to a novel. So I wrote a novel, and then I got to finish with writing the novel, and I thought, you know what? There's no pictures in this novel. I need to make that into a comic book after all. So what I did was, here, wait, let me show you something. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it goes. The chapter divisions inside this novel I decided to adapt from this this little chalk glyph that I developed. That's all. So the funny thing about it is that, like the Howard novels that were developed into comics by Marvel Comics Group, I developed my comic book from this novel, and and I had to change a bunch of stuff, much like Robert E. Howard, much like they had to do to Robert E. Howard's book. And most of this stuff is not even based on his stories anymore. He wrote one story that his publishers broke up into 4 or 5 pulp novels. But after that, they just, the comic book people just kind of took it and said, let's pit him against a guy with an alligator, like that's what they did for kids. So, but that's what this became. I had to adapt my own book to novel, and I had to change some stuff. So the novel and the comics are a little different from each other. I love them both, and they're both for sale. So I would love it if you followed the link. There's a Linktree link in the actually, I think I even put this in, the links to the books in the description, so you can buy these if you want. But if you don't want to buy them, I'm perfectly fine with you just kind of reading along with me and enjoying the books like this. Thank you very much for sticking with me, and I will see you in a week or so with the first page of, where did that go? First page of this issue called Jaguar Tower.